All right, imbeciles, everyone quiet down. Dave and Ryan's movie review, segment 3, and action.
Oh, we've done this before, but not in this setting. It's the ultimate 16 movie bracket to determine Dave and Ryan's scariest movie. I'll give our favorite duo 3 minutes to decide their winner, eliminating one movie at a time out of a tournament-style debate. The only catch? These two hard-headed jerks have to agree on which one comes out on top. Oh, I'm looking forward to this one.
Okay, so in this one, we just kind of sat around and came up with scary movies.
Yeah.
We all kind of got together and compiled this list. The thing about the list is, then we took a list of 16 scary movies, and we randomized them and put them into brackets. So it's going to be like a March Madness type bracket. And, you know, this could be a lot of fun. And at the end of it, if we can agree on anything, maybe we can come up with the best scary movie for Dave and Ryan's movie review.
Yeah.
Does that sound fair?
I guess. I'm not a big scary movie guy, but we'll see.
Okay, you're ready to get started?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Released in 2004, Saw revolves around two strangers who awaken in a room with no recollection of how they got there and soon discover they're pawns in a deadly game perpetrated by a notorious serial killer. And its opponent, we go back to 1988. It's Child's Play. A struggling single mother unknowingly gifts her son a doll which has been possessed by a serial killer known as Chucky.
And action.
All right, so
Saw versus Chucky.
Saw versus Chucky. What do you think?
You know, for me, I'm gonna go with Chucky. I think it's a more scarier movie than Saw.
I think the thing about Saw is it really started a whole big line of these movies that some people, as I was reading different things about Saw, people actually referred to it as torture porn.
Yeah, it's pretty much what it is.
And that's what it boils down to. But the first one, I think they got away from it in the other ones. The first one had almost kind of a human element where it was like, you know what, you need to make the decision of who's going to live and who's going to die.
Well, the first one, it was you basically decide if you're willing to sacrifice a part of you or something to redeem yourself. And with Child's Play, you know, it's just a murderous doll.
And the funnier thing about Saw was people walked out of that movie going, I would have done this. I would have done that instead. You know, things like that.
Yeah.
Where Chucky kind of came out after, I mean, I lived through Teddy Ruxpin.
Yeah.
You know, and everybody thought that Teddy Ruxpin was going to take over. So I think at the end of the day, yes, this is an easy one for me. I'm going to go with Child's Play as well.
All right, Child's Play it is.
All right, Child's Play wins that round.
Originally released in 1974, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is about 5 friends who head out to rural Texas to visit the grave of a grandfather. On the way there, they stumble across what appears to be a deserted house. Something sinister is within. And its opponent, a cult classic released in 1978, Halloween. 15 years after murdering his sister on Halloween night, Michael Myers escapes from a mental hospital and returns to a small town.
And action.
This one for me is pretty easy. I grew up watching, you know, like Halloween and Friday night or Friday the 13th movies. Never really could get into them. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, for some reason, terrified me. And the other thing is when it came out, it was like one of those taboo movies almost that you didn't watch. You know, people kind of talked about it, but you didn't really watch it. So for me, this one, I've got to go with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's there are so many different like serial killers rolled up into that movie. I mean, you've got Ed Gein, you've got you know, like a great, you know, you got a cannibal story. What more do you need?
Yeah, Texas Chainsaw Massacre is scary, you know. But honestly, I have to go with Halloween. I gotta go with Michael. You know, he doesn't say anything. You know, he's more of the silent killer than, you know, the I'm gonna chase you with a chainsaw. That's honestly a little unrealistic. Him running around like that and not killing himself with the chainsaw.
But you bring that up, and there were times in that movie that he surprised people, and they knew what was coming.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I
You know, there's a commercial out there that perfectly sums up the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's a story where the stupid teenagers, instead of getting in the car and driving away, they hide behind the chainsaws, or they run into the cemetery, and the murderer is just like, oh, you guys are so stupid.
But
with Michael, he's after one person.
But you just listed every plot of every horror movie.
Yeah, stupid teenagers.
Stupid teenagers. And unfortunately, in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I don't think anyone has sex. That's like the number one carte blanche rule in a scary movie.
That is true.
The thing about Michael Myers that I will give you this, Michael Myers was one of those just slow burns,
Yeah.
I guess. He kind of caught up with you.
He doesn't run after you. He slowly walks, and that's scary because you're running and you can't find a hiding spot because he will find you.
You're going to make me have to go with Halloween, aren't you?
Go with
Because
your-
we all know you're not going to change your mind. It's your way or no way. So
Bend to my will, Dave. Bend.
okay, I will go with Halloween because of that fact that Michael Myers is one of these guys that is just, I will catch you.
That and he has more movies.
I will catch you. It doesn't matter how fast you run.
Yeah.
You could drive a car for 20 miles and crash it and run out of gas, and I'll still be behind you.
Yeah, he's kind of like the Hannibal Lecter type of intelligence killer.
Maybe the Energizer Bunny of horror movies.
Yeah.
All right, so that one, I guess we're going to go with Halloween. What's next?
Up next, we have The Strangers. Released in 2008, a young couple staying in an isolated vacation home are terrorized by 3 unknown assailants. And its opponent, Friday the 13th, Part 2. 5 years after the events of the first film, a summer camp next to the infamous Camp Crystal Lake is preparing to open, but the legend of Jason is weighing heavy.
And action.
Okay, I look.
You got to go with Jason on
No,
this.
I do not.
Yes.
No, I do not. And you are at a disadvantage.
I'm at a disadvantage.
Yes.
I don't even know what The Strangers is.
That's why you're at a disadvantage.
You've explained it to me like a couple of times, and it's basically like, hey, let's go pick on the neighbors.
If you believe that a guy can die and come back to life over and over and over again to terrorize people at a camp,
You know these movies aren't real. Dave.
I understand that. That's
If
where
we're basing everything off of like realism, then like none of Child's Play would have lost.
but that's where The Strangers has you beat. Okay?
Explain.
The Strangers is one of those movies that in a messed up world that we live in could actually happen. There are no feats of unbelievable strength. Nobody comes back from the dead. It is 3 people that terrorize 2 people in a house
You
over
could have
an
used
evening.
this argument with the last movie, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That could really happen, but you chose to use it for this.
Yes, because
This
I feel
movie?
this strongly about it. Okay? This movie is just creepy. It really is, because you watch
Okay,
this
creepy or scary?
both. Okay? Have you never been creeped out over something?
I've been creeped out looking at you a few times.
Okay.
but I've never been
That
scared
aside,
of you.
that aside.
We're talking about horror movies, scary movies,
I
not
am-
creepy movies.
And I
We're
am
not
talking
about the
about
creep
a
next
movie.
door.
I am talking about a movie that in its basis could actually happen.
Okay.
And you can't bring up Texas Chainsaw Massacre because that's not this round. It was last round.
Yes.
So we're moving on.
Yeah.
The fact that The Strangers is a movie that could actually happen makes it scary beyond belief.
It's just. But
If
why
you
don't
wanna
they just call it the
believe-
Manson family?
If you want to believe the story of a man that can come back from the dead to terrorize campers over something that
you,
could
you
actually
don't have
happen.
a very strong argument.
You don't
You're-
either, but you're
no.
still here.
Yeah. You're standing on one leg and it's leaning on a chair.
I'm just telling you.
It
and
could
like I said,
happen. It
I
could
have
happen.
I have seen the Friday the 13th movies.
Yeah.
You have as well.
Yeah.
I have seen The Strangers. You haven't. So you don't even know what I'm talking about.
You're describing basically the Manson family. They went and killed people at their neighbors.
Okay,
That's
are we
basically
going
what you're
are we
saying.
going The Strangers up against the Manson family?
No, you're
Okay.
Yes, but that's your argument.
Because it actually happened. So once again, you're proving my point. It is
No.
something that can happen.
Yeah, and it has.
And it's scary.
Ugh, Dave, I don't agree with you, but if I don't, I'm going with you because we'll be here forever.
Amen. I finally won one. Write this down. All right, what's next?
Released in 1987, Hellraiser follows a woman who discovers the newly resurrected, partially formed body of her brother-in-law. She starts killing for him to revitalize his body so he can escape the demonic beings. And its opponent, Bram Stoker's Dracula. Released in 1992, the centuries-old vampire, Count Dracula, comes to England to seduce a woman and inflict havoc in the foreign land.
And action.
Hellraiser to me was just a gore fest.
Yeah,
That's why they were made.
yeah, it was like off of fetishes.
And the scarier, sadder thing about the whole thing is it's Clive Barker, and Clive Barker, that's what he lives for.
Yeah.
And I watched the first one with kind of a morbid curiosity, I guess I should say.
Sure, let's go with that.
But after that, I kind of lost interest in him. And Bram Stoker's Dracula is really a classic.
It's it's not an original tale. It's scary, and I'm gonna have to go with Hellraiser.
You're really gonna have to go with Hellraiser.
I'm going
over
with
Dracula.
Hellraiser. Yeah.
Okay, what's your argument?
What's my? You want to hear my argument?
Yeah, that's what this is all about. Let's hear your argument.
Dracula. Yes, it's it's a classic story, but it's basically a guy who is looking for love, and it goes horribly wrong. That's basically the Dracula movie.
Some might say Hellraiser's kind of the same thing.
It is, but there's more. It's not just Hellraiser. There's other beings that are torturing people, and they're trying to better themselves by torturing people, and it's just a gory horror movie. It's a classic movie versus a non-classic movie is what we're doing with this one, and I gotta go with Hellraiser.
Well, and the thing about Hellraiser too is
Could you just imagine going through that makeup with all
it made
the
everybody it made everybody fear a box.
pins? Yeah.
So sort of a Pandora's box, if you will, and that's the best thing. What was one of the lines that I will show you pleasures that you've never seen before?
Yeah.
No, dude, you're not going to do that. You're not going to do that.
Come on, Dave.
I thought this movie was probably one of the goriest movies I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was scary.
And but it's gory. So I'll go with
gory
Hellraiser.
movie can be scary.
I'll go with Hellraiser on this one. But yeah, it's not one of my favorites.
Okay.
All right. What's next?
Next, we have a matchup featuring the Poltergeist. Released in 1982, a family's home is haunted by a host of demonic ghosts. And its opponent, the 1973 release, The Exorcist. When a young girl is possessed by a mysterious entity, her mother seeks help of two priests to save her daughter.
And action.
When we were coming up with this list, we came to The Exorcist.
Yeah.
And I said, I can honestly remember The Exorcist being one of those movies that just has stuck with me.
I can say the same thing about Poltergeist.
And there are scenes in Poltergeist, chicken in the bathroom scene. That one sticks with me as well.
Yeah.
And clowns.
Oh, yeah.
Plus, we were talking about the fact that with my strong Catholic upbringing when I was younger, the Exorcist movie was just unbelievably scary to me. And then I kind of got a little older, and Poltergeist came out. And it kind of checked off all the boxes, to be totally honest with you. It was a being that you really can't see. I mean, you can, but you can't see it.
Yeah. And it also kind of started a whole, the monster and the TV coming thing.
Mm-hmm. And then like I said, the scene in the bathroom where after the guy's eating the chicken.
Yeah.
That sticks with me. And that clown will stick with me until the day I die. And as God is my witness, I will continue to say this. That clown is every bit as scary as Pennywise.
Yeah.
And especially when it changes.
Yeah. When this movie came out, I was a little kid, and it scared the crap out of me. The whole carry in. Oh my gosh. And the TV, whenever, growing up, it's not like today where you turn on the TV and if there's no signal, it's just a blank screen.
Right.
Back then, you got that
Got
fuzz.
snow.
Yeah, and it was so scary. It's like, like it made you scared of white noise.
Ugh.
Now people sleep with white noise. Back
Yeah.
back in the day, you're like, nope,
No,
nope.
not doing that.
Yeah.
Not doing that.
God, and the second one was scary too.
Well, it's the old man.
yeah, the old creepy.
You're all gonna die in there.
Yeah. Don't go towards the light.
I don't know. I
So which one are you going with?
both movies harken back to my childhood. Let's put it that way. I guess I got to go with Poltergeist on this
Yeah.
one because there are so many things in it. Yes, The Exorcist bugs me, and it's still a tremendously good scary movie.
See,
but-
The Exorcist didn't bug me that much.
Yeah, it's because you're a heathen.
Well, yeah.
But so we're gonna go with the Poltergeist for that round.
Up next, It. Released in 2017, it's about the summer of 1989 and a group of bullied kids band together to destroy a shape-shifting monster known as Pennywise. And its opponent, Train to Busan, released in 2016. A zombie virus breaks out in South Korea and passengers struggle to survive on the train to Busan.
And action.
All right, so now I'm at a disadvantage on this one. I have heard of Train to Busan. I've seen parts of it. I have never seen the whole movie put together, but I have seen it.
I've seen both, and this is a hard one because it is really scary. At Train to Busan, sorry. It was also horrifying because when I used to live up north in the city, I took the tracks everywhere, and and then watching this movie, it's basically you stick your head out, you look around, and there's the train station's completely empty, and you're slowly walking out to see if everything's okay, and then heck breaks loose, you got to run back.
Well, and I think it really kind of hits on a lot of spots. I mean, being trapped on a train with that.
Yeah. There was a few carts that were infected. They had to build basically like a luggage wall, and then they had to get through the luggage wall. And then the end of the movie, it's just sad and heartbreaking. But I won't spoil it. Go see it. It's a good movie. But
Find that one and watch it. And as far as it is concerned,
it's just scary clown.
Yes, once again, it is Scary Clown.
This is a hard one because they're both horrifying to me.
Scary Clown, and Stephen King just knows how to do it. He does, and it's nowhere near what the one with Tim Curry was. Mostly because that was once again that was a made-for-TV movie, and it was Tim Curry. But it still has all the same little stories, and it was interesting that they couldn't get all of it in one movie when it came to this because they had to do chapter 2 as well.
Yeah, it's a hard one.
It is a hard one, and
I think I'm gonna have to go with Killer Clown.
Killer Clown, yeah, that's where I was leaning. Was it because it's a very good movie.
Yeah, if Train to Busan was against any other movie, I would go with that. But it's Scary Killer Clown.
That's all you need to say.
Yeah.
Okay, it is.
Up next, The Blair Witch Project. Released in 1999, Free film students vanish after traveling into a Maryland forest to film a documentary on the local Blair Witch legend, leaving only their footage behind. And its opponent, Scream. Released in 1996, a year after the murder of her mother, a teenage girl is terrorized by a masked killer who targets her and her friends by using scary movies as part of the deadly game.
And action.
This is easy for me.
It is because you hate Blair Witch.
I do. I hate everything about that movie.
I will say this for Blair Witch. You have to, and we've talked about this in the past, you have to take your hat off to them for the marketing of this movie. Whether you like the movie or not, it was marketed unbelievably.
It was. I just don't like the found footage type of film style. It makes me sick.
And literally.
Yeah.
And it's because, that
Just too much
They make
shaking
it-
and hand movement.
Right, and they make it look like they found all this movie footage and this is what really happened to this crew and this, that, and the other, and then it was really played up very well. Probably one of maybe the time that it came out, maybe one of the first big movies that was really pushed through the internet. I think it had its own website before the movie came out, and you could go in and watch all this and read all this backstory of the Blair Witch and everything. Spawned a couple of movies. The second one was no good.
I after the first one, I was like, no, I'm done.
So which one do you pick?
I gotta go with Scream. You know, Ghostface is more scarier than shaking cameras.
And it really kind of launched. I mean, they're still making them.
Yeah,
They're still making them. So I've got to go with Scream on this one. That was kind of an easy one.
yeah. I just remember the scene in the theater where the girl's acting on stage and her friend's up in the balcony and just getting stabbed to death, and everyone's like, "She's such a good actor."
There was a reason.
Yeah.
There was a reason
She
for that.
was horrified.
All right, Scream it is.
And for our last first round matchup, we start with the 1984 hit A Nightmare on Elm Street. A girl and a group of her friends are being tormented by a clawed killer in their dreams named Freddy Krueger. The kids must think fast as Freddy tries to pick them off one by one. And its opponent, The Ring. Released in 2002, a journalist must investigate a mysterious videotape which seems to cause the death of anyone 1 week to the day after they view it.
And action.
So this one for me is pretty easy as well. The Ring, you got to tip your cap to The Ring because they kind of started this whole lineup of, Asian horror movies that kind of transcended and came over and they made English versions of them and those kind of things. But I think The Girl in the Ring stands no shot against Freddy Krueger.
I'm going to agree with you. You know, the Ring definitely did spawn a lot of scary movies like that. My most scariest one of that kind of genre is The Grudge. You know, it's same concept. It's a story about they see something or they watch something or they go somewhere they're not supposed to, and they basically get haunted by a being that basically tries to kill them.
So very simple. Freddy wins the day, end of the night, apparently.
Yeah, he will stab you.
So you've gotta put it together and get ready for that one. So there is the first leg of this March. We'll call it October Madness. How's that?
October Madness.
We'll call it October Madness. So next week we're going to be talking about this again, and we've got the lineups ready to roll. Looks like we got Child's Play is going to go up against Halloween.
Ooh.
So this gives you something to think about. The Strangers will go up against Hellraiser.
Oh, gotta do some research there.
Mm-hmm. It looks like It will go up against Poltergeist. And then Scream will go up against Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that one next week.
This would be crazy.
All right. We'll talk to you then. Take care.